There is an old African proverb that goes like this. If you wait for the mango fruit to fall from the tree, you're wasting your time while others are learning how to climb the tree. My friend, a lot of us that struggle with laziness don't understand how detrimental it is to our own success and growth. If you want to become the best version of yourself, whether it's financially, socially, or personally in your personal growth, then you have to overcome the bad habits of laziness. Remember, if you have a habit, it'll show you or it is a key to your future. If you have bad habits, it is a picture or a window to how you will become. If you have bad habits that are destroying you, you will end up being a worse person in the future. But if you can overcome laziness and replace it with good habits, which again, as I said before, is a key to your future, you will see yourself as a better person each day and you will become the best version of yourself you can possibly be. So my friend, without further ado, here are 4 other ways that you can overcome laziness. Before we get into my 4 steps for overcoming laziness, you need to understand something. Your laziness may be a form of self-sabotage, preventing you from getting to where you want to be. Remember that self-sabotage is any thought or any behavior pattern that stops you from doing what you should be doing or where you want to be going. An example of self-sabotage would be if you want to get the high levels in order to get to your dream university to become a doctor, for instance, yet you don't believe deep inside, you don't believe that you are able to keep up or even able to get there, you will self-sabotage by not studying, you'll self-sabotage by leaving assignments for the last minute. Remember, self-sabotage is any behavior or any thought that holds you back subconsciously. Many of us think that we want to succeed. Many of us think that we want to do well. But deep inside, a little piece of us, whether we know it or whether it's under our consciousness, knows that we may not be able to handle it. Now, whether this voice is true or not, whether you really can't handle it or whether you really can, you will constantly reflect certain behaviors that will mirror this innermost deep belief. Laziness is a form or it's a derivative from this deep self-sabotage. In my past videos, I have spoken about self-sabotage. If you want me to make a video about self-sabotage, going deep into it and how to overcome it from your subconscious mind, you can either go down into the comments below and just tell me, hey AJ, I want you to make a video on self-sabotage and speak more about it and go deeper into it. Or you can speak to me directly on my website. Just go click the link in the description below and you'll be able to contact me directly. My first way to overcoming laziness is number 1, set goals. More importantly, set realistic goals. For many of us, we see a task or a goal or a mountain and it seems very, very overwhelming. And this causes us to self-sabotage because we look at this and we're like, how could we actually, or how can I actually complete it? How can I ever reach the top of this mountain? Yet, my friend, you've got to understand that if you have self-confidence and if you have trust in yourself, remember the word confidence comes from the Latin word confidere, which means to trust in oneself or to confide in oneself. A person that has high self-esteem and high self-confidence in a task that they want to do will actually look at it from a different perspective. Pretend you are about to eat an elephant. An elephant is a huge, heavy beast, and you are about to eat it. You have been tasked with eating this elephant. Pretend the elephant is, for example, a task that you have to do. Maybe it's an assignment. Maybe it's something you want to do in your personal life. Maybe it's quitting cigarettes or alcohol. Maybe it's getting that promotion, or maybe it's building that brand up, or maybe it is getting to that university. This is a very big task. What high self-esteem people and successful people do is they don't look at the task as a whole, but they look at the first step they do, okay, they should be taking. Because remember, once you take the first step, everything else follows. So you will break that elephant into little pieces in order to overcome, in order to eat slowly and slowly and slowly until you finish the whole thing. If you remember in my How to Overcome Fear video, I spoke about 2 methods in order to overcome fear. The first method was the pressure method, and that's something totally different. If you want to see the video, I'll link it down in the description below. The second method was actually called the baby step method. This is basically when you have a big task that you're scared of. Maybe you have that fear of success. Maybe you're starting to self-sabotage. Maybe you're becoming lazy again. You're becoming complacent. And what you basically do is you take little baby steps in order to overcome it each day. You'll be surprised by how much momentum you build as you start. The hardest part of getting this whole journey to start is the beginning. If you ask any athlete, if you ask any successful person, if you ask anybody that isn't lazy, isn't complacent, and people with high self-esteem, they'll tell you, hey, the hardest part of your whole self-help journey, the hardest part of your development is from the start. Once you can get over this mindset, it's not necessarily a physical thing, but it's more of a mindset, a stigma in your face. You basically covered by fog. If you can blow away the smoke and you can get at it and you can attack it, then my friend, you will become the most efficient and effective person you could possibly become. Remember, if you want to see unprecedented success in your life, you have to remember this. Success is equal to goals plus action plan. Your plan of action is as important as your goals. I will get to that in my second step. And if you need some help formulating your goals, if you need some help structuring your goals, I will link down a video I did on New Year's Day on how to structure your goals in a systematic and smart way. Remember, smart is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time relevant. If you want to structure your goals in a very smart way that many successful people do, millionaires, billionaires, people that overcome their anxiety, and people that attack tasks in the most efficient way possible, all of them know how to structure goals and complete them with their plan of action. So if you want to taste some of that success, my friend, then go down to the link below and check out that video. The second step to overcome laziness is number 2, action plan. Remember, success is equal to goals plus action plan. You have to create a plan of action. There are 2 elements that constitute a good action plan. Number 1, specificity. Are you specific? And number 2, direction. Where are you going? Where do you want to be by the end of this whole task or this whole assignment or this whole goal that you are setting for yourself? Remember, your plan of action is your execution, and your execution has to be precise. You have to get a pen and paper, a whole notebook if you have to, and you have to map out exactly how you're gonna do it. I love writing it down in my journal. If you know me and if you know this channel, then you know that you should already have a Be Cool self-help growth journal. So just go down to your nearest stationery shop and just pick yourself a pen and a journal. It'll be the most important investment that you make. If you want to go a step further, you can even get a bullet journal that will help you bullet down all your tasks and help you function in life in a more productive way. Remember this: specificity plus direction equals acceleration. If you want to get to your goals faster, then you have to create this in a specific way, your action plan in a very specific way. If you're specific as to how you're going to structure your goals and how you're going to attain those goals, then you're going to remove any single foggy idea that you had when you're coming to it, helping you distract yourself or destroy that feeling of laziness when you see it. Sometimes we look at this big task, maybe they say, hey, I want you to read this whole book. I actually had it open here because I was reading it by Robert Greene, my favorite author, by the way. I was actually on his Instagram for like a day. He put me on his story. Anyway, that was one of the proudest moments. But Robert Greene, one of my favorite authors, if they tell you read this thick book by the end of the month, you may look at that and already you feel tired without doing anything. It's like a sensory overload. You feel like you can't do it. It feels impossible. But when you structure yourself, you say, hey, look, this book is 300, 400 pages long, however long it is. I'm going to read 20 pages a day, or I'm going to read 50 pages a day. I'm going to read this many pages a day. Make sure first that it is realistic. It is within something that you can do, and you can always just build up more and more. You can read 10 pages the first day, then 20 pages, then you can really build up the more or the better you get at it. But remember, if you don't have specificity and direction, you will not get acceleration and you will not reach your goals. One thing that is often overlooked but is very important is getting an accountability partner. If you're somebody that wants to overcome a certain goal, but you also have problems with sticking to it, you also have problems with self-discipline, you also have problems with staying accountable, then you should look for someone to help you stay accountable. Someone you can report to, someone you can tell, hey, I feel like this is going this way. I feel like this part isn't working out, or I feel like this part is actually really good. You know, someone you can really keep in contact with. It can be your parent, it can be your friend, it can be your partner, it can be anybody, but they should be your accountability partner. I've mentioned this before in some of my videos, but back when I was making my first book, Be Cool, The Ultimate Teenage Guide, I actually had to go out and survey teenagers my age. And I was very scared. I was very anxious. Imagine you're walking around in the mall or the park, wherever you are, and you just see this boy with a clipboard coming very nervously with sweat all on his face, shaking and asking you very personal questions. Have you ever been bullied? Do you ever feel depression? You know, these types of things are very scary to me, going up to people at first. So what I did with my friends in terms of an accountability partner is I gave my friend 1,000 rand back in the day. I gave him 1,000 rand. This was 3 or 4 years ago. I gave my friend 1,000 rand. I was like, hey buddy, if I can go up to 10 people, you give me back 100 rand. By the way, rand is South Africa's currency for all my international viewers. I know that this channel gets a lot of international viewers. I love you. But basically, I said, if I can approach a person, you give me back 100 rand. And for every person I do that for, I would become more and more, free flowing. There would be some type of social momentum. I go to the first person, I'm a bit scared, I'm a bit nervous. I'll go back to my friend, he would give me that 100 and I'll feel great. I feel a reward. So I'll be like, hey, I'm going back. And by the way, this helped a lot because I had a very, very big monetary incentive there. You know, I really had to get back my money. This is something really cool to do, especially if you find it very difficult meeting new people, if you find it very difficult just conveying yourself in social gatherings. You should actually just try this out. It doesn't have to be money, it can be anything that's important to you or whatever it is. Just go out and attempt to do it and have an accountability partner you go to and you explain to them what you did and what you failed to do and what you're struggling with and what you try to do your best and so on and so forth. The third step to overcoming laziness, and this is something that you can do right now, is get rid of distractions. One of the biggest hurdles to motivation is your environment. I remember reading the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, and I remember reading this one line that stood out to me in a spectacular way. He basically said this: one of the biggest hurdles that comes to your motivation, your success, and you may not even know, is your environment. Distractions can make or break your success. Now, I'm not saying you should become this stoic person that's constantly focused and cannot let loose sometimes. But what I'm saying is when you have to focus, remove every single thing that is blocking your mind from actually focusing. For me, whenever I'd study, I'd realize that I cannot study in a dirty place. I can't study with my desk full of things. I have to have a clean desk. I have to have everything clear. When I'm recording my videos, I try and make sure that my lighting, cables, everything is straight, everything is well, so I can speak to the camera as efficiently and effectively as possible. Something else that James Clear speaks about is adopting a no storage policy. This means stop dumping your things on your desk. And if you have any folders, files, papers, if you have any loose pages that you have just hanging around, take it and file it or put it in a place where you can put all your loose papers and put it in your drawer or wherever it is. But do not have things on your desk when you're working. Only leniency I will give you is if you have to get things very quickly and if you need everything you have at one place. Something I used to do when I would study is I would have my pens on the table, everything that I would need to be studying that specific subject on the table, and if I needed a drink or a snack, I would have it next to me. Other than that, nothing else. When you're working, put all your electronics aside unless you have to work on your electronics, then that is something else. There are many apps out there that allow you to go in what is called focus mode, where you won't get notifications or anything else. You can just put your phone on do not disturb mode. If you have to, try and put your phone on silent mode, but when you're working, you're working. Another thing that I speak about in my past videos and something else that James Clear puts out in his book is you should put the things that you're working on, your habits, the goals that you set. For example, if you want to learn how to play guitar, make sure that you have the guitar everywhere where you go, right? In your house, put it in your living room, put it somewhere where you can get to it very quickly, you know? If you are wanting to read more books, if you want to read thicker books, make sure you have the book wherever you go, whether it's to school, to the bank, to the park, to wherever. Keep the book with you. For some reason, this helps a lot, especially if you want to overcome these goals and make it a new habit. I mean, if you want to finish reading, for instance, this really thick Robert Greene book, and whenever you want to read it, you have to go down to the attic and you have to go and pull out the boxes, and under the heaviest box, that is where the book is, tucked under a bunch of clothes. It's going to be very, very difficult for you to make it a habit, for you to overcome the laziness to even start. Laziness plus distraction equals no go. It means you're not going to do it at all. Remember, when you see a big task and you already start to feel lazy. On top of that, you have your phone right next to you. You have the Netflix TV open right there. You have your snacks right there. You're not going to do it. You're not going to do the task, okay? So make sure you have everything you had to do right there. I remember when I was making scripts for my videos, I would make sure that I would not close my notebook and my laptop. It will stay on that research page, and I'll leave my book open. So when I'm tired and I'm finished researching, I'll go and sleep. I'll wake up and I'll see it right there. I'll go do my things. I'll come back. I'll see it right there, and I'll get at it. It'll be as simple as opening it up, getting my pen, and start working. It won't be a hassle. It won't be anything that is too hard for me to do. The fourth, and in my opinion, the most important thing when it comes to overcoming laziness and completing tasks is creating a positive experience. Your biological brain hates negative experiences. If you've ever had to study a long time and you hated every second of it, and on top of that you still did badly, you're gonna have a big affinity, or you're gonna have a negative affinity to studying next time. You will feel less eager to learn, less eager to participate, because you've experienced this negative cycle that's happened. Now, I want you to remember something. If you can create a positive experience, you can turn around most negative things. If, for example, it's in your social life and you meet a beautiful, attractive stranger and you want to go and speak to them, if you go up to them and you get rejected, that's something you can't control. You can't control whether they like you or not. If you get rejected, then you can either A, make it a negative experience by going home crying, reaffirming your insecurities, revalidating your shortcomings, whatever it is, or you can laugh it off and make it a joke. Hey, great meeting you. I love your shoes, by the way. All right, bye-bye. She's totally gonna call me. He totally loves me. Whatever it is, laugh, go out with your friends, high five them. That was epic. Did you see what I did? Laugh it out. Make it a positive experience. Chances are that if you can create more positive experiences when you're doing tasks, when you're going to meet new people, then you will probably want to do it later on again. You'll become better and better at doing it. One of the easiest ways to make doing a tedious task a positive experience is by rewarding yourself at the end. I remember when I had to study for finals, I basically was studying, I don't know how many hours a day. I was just head down, focusing, studying, and I would do the Pomodoro Technique, which I'll get to a bit later. But in the Pomodoro Technique, you have intervals where you take 5-minute breaks after studying for a specific amount of times, or specific intervals of time. Then you have a longer break after, I think, 2 hours or so. So in my longer breaks, I'll tell myself, hey, once I finish this whole set of Pomodoro, or once I finish my whole set of studying, then I've earned going to the PlayStation and playing 15 minutes of Call of Duty or 15 minutes of Grand Theft Auto, whatever it is. I'll play 15 minutes and I'll feel amazing. So then my next session, I come refreshed and I look and I'm like, I have something to look forward to. I can work. I have created a positive experience. Something that I see a lot of lazy people doing, lazy people by nature, they want to reward themselves for things that they shouldn't be rewarding themselves for. They do not challenge themselves enough. If you want to start running more and you decide, hey, I'm gonna do 100 steps, then I'm gonna reward myself, then I'm gonna do 100 steps, and I'm gonna reward myself. Hey, that is one way of looking at it, but it isn't necessarily the right way of looking at it. You have to challenge yourself. You can't let yourself become complacent. You have to at least put a bit of a challenge, a bit of effort in before you can reward yourself. Otherwise, subconsciously, you'll know that you don't deserve the reward. Something a lot of people that are overweight and are dealing with food problems have or do is they constantly, for example, they work out, they feel great about themselves, they go and eat healthy for the day, for the week, for the month even. But then after working out, after eating healthy, they're like, hey, I should reward myself. I should have a cheating day. And they go and eat the most unhealthy things and in such huge quantities, and they end up gaining all that pounds of fat back. Remember to keep your rewards close, concise, and small, but also keep them frequent. A year ago, I got my puppy Bella. She's a beautiful dog. I think I'll put a photo of her up here. And she's a Boston Terrier. She's beautiful. I love her so much. But when I had to start training her, or when I would learn the videos on how to train her, the trainer would basically say, whenever she would do something, even the slightest bit amazing, you give her a tiny, tiny piece of chicken or a tiny piece of turkey, whatever it is, give her a small little treat. Don't give her too much, but don't give her too little. And make sure it's frequent. So whenever you want to train her to, for instance, do a rollover, whenever she rolls over, give her a little bit. Then roll over, and then whatever you do, take less and less and less of the treat out. Just keep on taking less treats for her, and soon enough she'll be able to do it by herself. So I constantly learned how to train my dog, and in the same way I learned that I can actually, if you watch my last video, be a sponge. I learned how to let go of the reward slowly but surely, and I learned the habit, and my dog learned the habit of rolling over and all these other tricks. Something else you could do is remember your accountability partner. Whoever it was, they could help you with very difficult challenges. When I was learning physics, chemistry, biology, and I had to memorize all these structures and cells and formulas and all these different types of knowledge and information that I'd have to learn, I'd always get my older brother to test me on it, or just refresh my knowledge on it, or help me learn it, because it was very difficult for me at the time. Something else you should do is take regular breaks. In the Pomodoro Technique, you work for 30 minutes, you take a 5-minute break, you work for 30 minutes, you take a 5-minute break. You do this, you do as many 30-minute sessions until you reach 2 hours, then you take a 15 or 10-minute break. You really go out of your room, you stretch, you play video games, you do something to reward yourself, then you either get right back into it or you call it a day. And the last way of making sure that you create a positive experience is make sure you do not focus on perfectionism, okay? Perfectionism is not key. Do not focus on trying to make it perfect. Do not make the presentation perfect. Do not try and figure out the perfect thing to say. Do not try and figure out the perfect thing to write in your essay. Do not try and... This all just pulls you away from actually achieving the goals that you've set before. Once you've done this goal, once you've done that step, don't try and go back and edit it. No, continue to the next thing, continue to the next thing, and keep going. My friend, remember, at the end of the day, be your own motivator. No one will help you. No one will create your success for you. If you want to meet more new people and you want to be more open, I won't come through the camera or come through the screen and do it for you. As much as I would love to, I can't do that. I physically cannot. You have to take the steps. You have to say, okay, goals plus plan of action equals my success. And you have to take it, and you have to be specific and have direction with the way you're going. Well, my friend, thank you for watching this video. If you found a little bit of value, please go down, click like and subscribe, click the bell notification if you want to see more of my beautiful face. And if you want to read my self-help book in order to take you from step 1 to step 100 to become the best version of yourself, go down to the link in the description below. And if you've ever been curious as to what type of personality you have, go down, click the link in the description below for a free personality test where you can actually answer 15 questions or so that are very psychologically based, and you'll get an email telling you what type of personality you have. Thank you for watching this video. It has been AJ Lacau.